Listen, dear soul, for I come to you today with a message of power, hope, and divine certainty. The things you have prayed for, the dreams you thought were too far, the miracles that seemed out of reach, God is moving, and what once seemed impossible is about to become reality. You may have been walking through a season of waiting. Perhaps you have faced delay after delay, challenge after challenge. The enemy has whispered doubts into your mind, making you question whether God has heard your prayers. But hear me now, God has never left you. Your prayers have not been ignored. Your tears have not been wasted. Heaven has been listening. What seemed impossible is not impossible for God. You serve a God who specializes in the impossible. When the Red Sea stood before the children of Israel, it seemed like there was no way forward. But did God abandon them? No. He parted the waters, making a way where there was none. Right now, you might feel stuck, as if you are standing before a sea that will not move. But I tell you this, God is about to part the waters in your life. He is about to make a way that no man, no force, and no circumstance can block. I see the weight you have been carrying, the worries, the fears, the disappointments, the moments when you thought, maybe this is just how my life is meant to be. But that is not the truth. The truth is that God's plans for you are greater than you can imagine. The truth is that He is working behind the scenes even when you don't see it. Right now, the enemy wants you to believe that your situation is too difficult, too broken, too far gone. But I stand before you as a messenger of God to tell you, your story is not over. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is moving in your life right now. That relationship that seemed beyond repair, God can restore it. That financial struggle that seemed endless, God can bring abundance in an instant. That dream you thought had passed you by, God is resurrecting it in ways you never imagined. But listen closely, because this is where many people fall into doubt. They see nothing changing, and they begin to believe the lie that their prayers are unanswered. But faith does not walk by sight. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. Have you ever planted a seed? When you bury it in the ground, you do not immediately see the harvest. But deep beneath the surface, the seed is breaking open. It is sending out roots, stretching toward the water, preparing to sprout into something great. Right now, your prayers are like seeds. You may not see the full manifestation yet, but I tell you this, your breakthrough is already growing. Your answer is already on its way. Think about the story of Abraham. God promised him a son, yet years passed with no sign of fulfillment. People laughed at him. Even his own thoughts must have battled with doubt. But God had spoken, and God's word never returns void. And when the appointed time came, Sarah conceived, and the promise was fulfilled. I say this to you now. God has given you promises, and the appointed time is coming. There is something powerful happening in the spiritual realm. I can feel it. I can see it. The delay you have been experiencing is not a denial. It is a divine setup. God is aligning things in your favor. He is moving pieces that you cannot see. The people who rejected you, the doors that closed, the setbacks that frustrated you, these were all part of the preparation. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. Imagine this. If a king is preparing a banquet, he does not serve the meal before everything is in place. He ensures the table is set, the finest ingredients are gathered, and the perfect moment arrives. Then, and only then, is the feast served. And so it is with God. He is preparing the table before you. He is aligning the circumstances, setting the right people in place, clearing away obstacles. And when the time is right, what seemed impossible will manifest before your very eyes. But here is what you must do. Do not give up now. Do not let discouragement steal your faith. Do not allow doubt to take root in your heart. Do not speak words of defeat when you are so close to victory. God is moving, but He is calling you to hold on to your faith. Even when the road feels long, even when the answers seem delayed, even when your mind says, it's too late. Because hear me now, with God, it is never too late. Lazarus was in the tomb for 4 days. People said it was over. They said it was impossible. But Jesus stood before the grave and spoke the words, "Lazarus, come forth." And at that moment, the impossible became reality. The same God who called Lazarus back to life is the same God who is working in your life right now. He is breathing life into your dreams. He is breaking chains that have held you back. He is shifting things in your favor in ways you cannot see. Right now, I need you to take a deep breath and release every worry. Release every fear. Release every doubt. Because heaven is working on your behalf. A door is opening. A breakthrough is near. A miracle is unfolding. And in the days to come, you will look back and say, what seemed impossible has become reality. So stand firm. Walk in faith. Hold on to God's promises. Because the impossible is not impossible for him. This is just the beginning of what must be spoken. There is more to reveal, more to understand. Prepare your heart for the next part of this divine message. Listen closely, for what I reveal to you now is not just a message. It is a divine instruction, a sacred reminder, a call to alignment with heaven's timing. You have stepped into a season of acceleration, but to fully receive what God has prepared, your heart must be positioned, your faith must be steadfast, and your mind must be renewed. The forces of heaven have already begun moving. The prayers you whispered in the dark, the dreams you nearly abandoned, the breakthrough you thought would never come. God is speaking life into these things even now. But here is the question: are you truly ready to receive it? Because listen carefully. There are things that God wants to release into your life, but He is waiting for you to make room for them. Imagine you are holding on to something small, something familiar, something you've grown accustomed to, even if it no longer serves you. Your hands are clenched around it, afraid to let go. And now, imagine that God is standing before you, holding something far greater, something beyond what you could have imagined. But until you release what is in your hands, you cannot receive what He is offering. Some of you have been holding on to past hurts, fears, regrets, doubts. Some of you have been clinging to old mindsets, toxic connections, limiting beliefs. And yet, you are asking God for new blessings, for open doors, for divine opportunities. But hear this: God is not a God of clutter. He is a God of order. Before He brings something new, He clears away the old. Look at the life of Joseph. He had a dream of greatness, a vision of a future where he would walk in divine favor. But before that dream could manifest, he had to let go of everything he thought he knew. He was betrayed. He was thrown into a pit. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused and cast into prison. Everything familiar was stripped away. But hear me now. What seemed like a series of losses was actually a divine setup. What seemed like abandonment was actually alignment. God was positioning him for something greater. And when the appointed time came, he was lifted from the prison to the palace in a single day. This is the God you serve. The God who turns valleys into mountaintops, who transforms suffering into testimony, who takes the most painful seasons and births miracles from them. But like Joseph, you must be willing to let go of what is behind you so that God can take you to what is ahead. You cannot carry yesterday's pain into tomorrow's promise. You cannot hold on to the past while reaching for the future. You cannot stay in comfort and expect to step into the miraculous. Right now, I ask you to look deep within. What is God calling you to release? What is standing between you and the blessing that is waiting to manifest? Because, dear soul, your time is near. The shift has already begun. What seemed impossible is about to become your reality. But listen, the enemy knows this too. And he is afraid. He sees what God is doing. He senses the acceleration. He knows your breakthrough is near. And so, in these moments before manifestation, he will attempt to distract you, to discourage you, to make you doubt what God has already decreed. He will send delays to make you believe it's not happening. He will send obstacles to make you question if you heard God correctly. He will use people, sometimes even those closest to you, to speak doubt into your dreams. But I tell you now, do not be moved. Do not be shaken. Because the truth is this: if the enemy is fighting you harder, it means you are closer than ever to what God has promised. Look at the children of Israel. After years of slavery, they were on the verge of their breakthrough. The promised land was near. But what happened? The enemy sent fear. The spies returned with a report that the land was good, but the giants were too great. The people allowed fear to take root, and as a result, they delayed their own blessing. God had already given them the land. It was theirs. But their doubt, their fear, their hesitation kept them wandering in the wilderness instead of stepping into their promise. I say this to you now: do not make the same mistake. God has already decreed your breakthrough. It is already written in heaven. The doors are already open. But you must step forward in faith. You must refuse to entertain doubt. You must silence the voice of the enemy with the truth of God's promises. Because, listen to me, the financial breakthrough you have been praying for, it's already set in motion. The healing you have been waiting on, it is already being released. The opportunity that seemed closed off, it is already aligning in your favor. And I tell you now, what seemed impossible is about to become reality. But here is the key: you must walk as if it is already done. Speak as if the breakthrough is already yours. Praise as if the blessing has already arrived. Move as if the victory is already secured. Because in the kingdom of God, faith is not passive, it is active. You do not wait to see before you believe. You believe, and then you see. This is the season of fulfillment. This is the moment when the unseen becomes seen, when the prayers of yesterday become the testimonies of today. But will you trust Him? Will you surrender fully? Will you align your faith with what heaven has already declared? Because listen, the next part of this message will reveal even more. There is still more to be spoken, more to be uncovered, more to be understood. Heaven is moving. The shift is happening. What seemed impossible is unfolding even now. And in the days ahead, you will look back and say, I never knew it would happen like this, but God did it. Prepare yourself, because the impossible is about to become reality. This is not the end. There is more to come. Listen carefully, for what I am about to reveal to you is a divine confirmation, a message straight from the throne of God. You are not just wandering through life without purpose. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Heaven sees you. The Creator of the universe knows your name, and He has set things in motion that you cannot yet see. The shift is already happening. But listen, dear soul, before the breakthrough, there is always a moment of testing. Before the impossible becomes reality, there is always a season where things seem most uncertain. This is the pattern of God, not because He wishes to test you for His sake, but because He wants you to see your own faith in action. He wants you to see that you are stronger than you think. He wants you to know that even when the storm is raging, your foundation in Him will not be shaken. Let me tell you something. Right now, the enemy wants you to believe that nothing is changing, that your prayers have been unheard, that the doors remain closed, that the promise is still far away. But this is a deception. The enemy only attacks what he knows is about to be blessed. If you feel like you are facing more resistance than ever, it's because your blessing is closer than you think. If you feel like things have suddenly become harder, it's because the enemy is afraid of what happens when you receive what God has for you. Do not let him win. Because listen, God has already released your breakthrough in the spiritual realm. But now, it is up to you to bring it into the physical realm through faith. Faith is not just believing in God's power. Faith is knowing that His power is already working in your life, even when you cannot see it. Consider the story of Elijah. He had prayed for rain in a time of drought. For years, the land was dry. The skies were clear. The heavens seemed silent. But Elijah did not waver. He climbed to the top of Mount Carmel, bowed his face to the ground, and prayed with unwavering faith. He sent his servant to look toward the sea for a sign of rain. The servant went once, nothing. He went twice, still nothing. 3 times, 5 times, the sky remained clear. But Elijah did not stop praying. 6 times, 7 times, and then a cloud as small as a man's hand. And that was all Elijah needed to see. Because he knew what seemed impossible was already becoming reality. He ran and declared, "Go tell Ahab, prepare your chariot and go down before the rain stops you." And in moments, the skies darkened, the heavens opened, and the drought was broken. This is your season of the 7th prayer. You have been waiting. You have been pressing forward. You have been asking, and still, the sky has seemed clear. But I tell you now, the cloud is forming. The breakthrough is rising. The impossible is already shifting into reality. But listen, child of God, you must be ready. Because when the blessing comes, it will come suddenly. Look at Joseph. One moment, he was in prison. The next, he was standing before Pharaoh, interpreting a dream that would change the course of a nation. He had no warning. He had no time to prepare. He had to be ready. Look at David. One moment, he was tending sheep. The next, he was anointed as the future king of Israel. He had no time to second guess. He had to be ready. Look at Peter. One moment, he was a fisherman. The next, Jesus was calling him to walk on water. If he hesitated, he would have missed the miracle. I say this to you now. Do not hesitate. When the door opens, walk through it. When the opportunity comes, say yes. When God says, "This is it," do not question, move. Because the blessing will not wait for your fear to catch up with your faith. And listen, do not let doubt steal what God has already prepared for you. Do you remember the story of the Israelites? God had already given them the promised land. He had already declared victory. But when the spies returned, 10 of them saw giants instead of the promise. They saw obstacles instead of opportunities. They let fear override faith. And because of this, they delayed their own breakthrough for 40 years. Do not delay what God is trying to give you now. If He is calling you to step into something new, trust that He has already made the way. If He is asking you to release something, trust that He is bringing you something greater. If He is saying, "Move," trust that He has already gone before you. Listen to me. God is not limited by time. He is not constrained by human logic. He does not operate on your schedule, but His timing is always perfect. And I tell you now, this is your time. The impossible is shifting. The miracle is manifesting. What you thought could never happen is already unfolding behind the scenes. The relationship you thought was over, God is restoring it. The financial breakthrough you thought would never come, it's already in motion. The healing you feared was out of reach. God is touching you even now. The dream you almost gave up on, the doors are opening as we speak. But will you trust? Will you believe? Will you align your faith with what heaven has already declared? Because listen, this next part of the message will unlock even more. God is not finished speaking. There is still more to be revealed. Stay expectant. Stay ready. The impossible is about to become your reality. Listen to me now. You have felt the weight of waiting. You have carried the burden of unanswered prayers. You have wondered, God, when? God, how? God, will this ever happen for me? And I tell you this, your answer is closer than you think. Heaven has been moving on your behalf from the very moment you called out. From the very moment you whispered your need, the angels were dispatched, the path was set, the answer was released. But listen, child of God, there is a process to every promise. And in that process, you have been shaped. You have been refined. You have been prepared for the very thing that is now about to be placed in your hands. Think of Joseph again. His dream was real. His vision was from God. But before he could wear the robe of authority, he had to go through the process. He was betrayed, but the betrayal positioned him. He was thrown into a pit, but the pit led him to his purpose. He was accused and imprisoned, but the prison became his passage to the palace. Everything that seemed like a setback was actually a setup for what God had already prepared. And the same is true for you. You have been misunderstood, but it only sharpened your character. You have been rejected, but it only redirected you to the right place. You have been delayed, but your delay has only deepened your faith. Do you see it now? What seemed impossible was never impossible for God. It was simply being aligned perfectly in His divine timing. And now, your time has come, the moment before the breakthrough. But listen, dear one, before the miracle manifests, the enemy always tries to shake you one last time. Right now, you may be feeling pressure like never before. You may be wondering why, even though you've held on for so long, things feel more difficult than ever. This is the final test. This is the moment before the floodgates break open. This is where the enemy throws his strongest distractions, biggest doubts, and heaviest fear at you. Because he knows, if you stop believing now, you will miss the breakthrough. If you let fear take over, you will delay your blessing. If you choose doubt over faith, you will not step into what God has already prepared for you. Do not be deceived. Do not back down. Do not give in. Because I tell you now, the promise is already on its way. The shift has already begun. The unseen is about to become seen. What was impossible is already becoming reality. Can you feel it? Can you sense it in your spirit? The anticipation, the divine stirring, the quiet voice within you that says, something is coming. Something is about to change. That is not your imagination. That is the Spirit of God preparing you. Because when it happens, it will happen suddenly. One moment, you will be standing in uncertainty. The next, you will be standing in the middle of your answered prayer. The contract will come. The opportunity will open. The person will return. The doors will unlock. The finances will shift. The healing will manifest. The transformation will take place. And you will look back at this moment and say, I almost gave up, but God has already gone before you. Now listen carefully. What is coming is not something you have to fight for. It is something that has already been written in heaven. When the Israelites were about to enter the promised land, God told them something powerful. The Lord your God Himself will go before you. He will fight for you. Deuteronomy 1 verse 30. This is your confirmation. You do not have to fight for this breakthrough. You only have to align your faith with what God has already declared. You don't have to chase it. It will come to you. You don't have to force it. It will unfold naturally. You don't have to fear it, because what is meant for you cannot be stolen. But here is what you must do. Be ready. Do not let discouragement distract you. Do not let old wounds keep you from new blessings. Do not allow fear to convince you that you are not worthy of what God is about to release. You are worthy. You are chosen. You are stepping into a divine moment. The final test before the miracle. But listen, there is one thing you must be aware of. The moment before a breakthrough always brings a test of faith. Ask yourself, are you willing to trust God, even when you can't see how it will happen? Are you willing to stand firm, even when everything around you says it's not working? Are you willing to believe that the impossible is already shifting, even before you see the evidence? Because this is what will set you apart. Faith is not just believing after the miracle happens. Faith is declaring before it happens. It is done. A personal message for you. And now, I speak directly to your heart. Listen to me, beloved. This is your moment. The heavens have declared it. The angels have been sent to enforce it. The doors are opening. The chains are breaking. What seemed impossible is now being made possible. But I ask you this, will you receive it? Will you walk in expectation? Will you trust in God's timing? Will you silence the doubts and say, I believe my miracle is here before it even arrives? Because that is where the power is. When you align your faith with God's word, nothing can stop the manifestation of His promise in your life. The final confirmation. This is what I leave you with. The shift is here. The breakthrough is not coming. It is already in motion. You will receive unexpected good news. You will see a sudden change in your situation. You will step into a season of divine acceleration. What was delayed is now being released. What was blocked is now being removed. What was impossible is now becoming reality. And when it happens, remember this moment. Remember that God already spoke it over you. Remember that heaven had already declared it before you saw it. And when you receive it, testify. Speak of what God has done. Declare his faithfulness. Tell others that he is still a God of miracles. Because this is only the beginning. What comes next? This is not the end of the message. There is still more. God is not done speaking. Heaven is still moving. What comes next will reveal even greater insight into what is unfolding in your life. Stay ready. Stay expectant. Because the impossible is becoming reality, and you are about to witness it with your own eyes. Listen to me now, beloved. You have walked a long road, carrying faith like a flickering flame in the wind. You have seen others receive their breakthroughs, their answered prayers, their moments of divine acceleration, and you have wondered, when will it be my turn? When will my life shift? When will my prayers reach the throne of heaven and return with the blessing I have been waiting for? And I tell you this now, your turn has come. The heavens have not forgotten you. The divine timeline has not ignored your name. What seemed impossible in your eyes was never impossible in the eyes of God. It was being shaped, refined, and aligned for the perfect moment. And that moment is unfolding before you now. You have seen the signs, haven't you? The small whispers of confirmation, the unexpected shifts, the moments of unexplainable peace even in the midst of chaos. That is not coincidence. That is heaven moving. That is God's hand preparing you for what is coming. I speak to you now because the battle in your mind has been relentless. The doubt has been persistent. The voice that says, maybe it's not meant for me, has been growing louder. But hear me now, that is a lie. You were meant for this. You were chosen for this. You were created to receive this blessing, and no force in existence can keep it from you except your own disbelief. This is not the time to question whether it will happen. This is the time to prepare for how it will happen. It is coming swiftly, suddenly, and in a way you least expect. There have been delays, I know. There have been moments where you felt forgotten, where you saw doors close instead of open. But I tell you this, the delays were not denials. The closed doors were divine redirections. What you thought was rejection was actually protection. What you thought was loss was actually positioning. If you had received what you wanted when you first asked, it would not have been the best version of what God had in store for you. And now, because you have endured, because you have remained faithful, because you did not let go even when it felt like there was nothing left to hold on to, the time has come. I see the weight on your shoulders, the burden of waiting, the exhaustion of holding on to faith when everything around you said, give up. And yet, here you are. Still standing, still believing, even if it is only by a thread. And I tell you this, your faith has not been in vain. Every moment of patience, every prayer whispered in the silence, every tear shed in the midnight hour has been counted. And now, heaven is responding. The impossible is shifting. The barriers are breaking. The strongholds that kept you bound are being torn down, not by your own strength, but by the mighty hand of God. What is written for you in the divine plan cannot be erased. No enemy can steal what has your name on it. No delay can deny what was set aside for you before you were even born. It is written. It is sealed. It is yours. Do you feel it? The stirring in your spirit, the awakening in your soul, the quiet knowing that something is about to change? That is not your imagination. That is the Spirit of God preparing you. And I tell you this, prepare well, because when it happens, it will happen fast. You will not have time to question it, to second-guess it, to wonder if it's real. You must be ready to step into it. What does this mean for you? It means that now is the time to clear away doubt. Now is the time to remove every limiting belief that says, maybe I'm not worthy. You are worthy. Now is the time to step into the mindset of one who is about to receive, not one who is still waiting. Speak as if it has already happened. Walk as if you are already stepping into the blessing. Live as if the miracle has already arrived. Because in the eyes of heaven, it has. You will wake up one morning and everything will be different. You will open your eyes and realize the weight is gone. The door has opened. The situation has turned around. And you will know, it was not by your own strength, not by your own efforts, not by your own striving, but by the power of God alone. He is the one who moves mountains. He is the one who calls forth miracles. He is the one who turns the impossible into reality. And he has spoken over you. I tell you this with urgency. Do not let fear steal this moment. Do not let doubt creep in at the last second and make you hesitate. When the opportunity comes, take it. When the answer arrives, receive it. When the doors swing open, walk through them without looking back. The final test before a miracle is often the hardest. Right now, the enemy is trying to make you believe nothing is happening. He is whispering lies, creating distractions, stirring up confusion. Ignore him. Keep your eyes on what you know is true. Keep your spirit aligned with the voice of God. Because the very thing the enemy is trying to convince you won't happen is already happening. I see divine alignments forming even now. I see connections being made, doors being unlocked, paths being cleared. I see the very situation you have been praying about shifting before your eyes. And when it happens, do not be surprised. Do not stand in disbelief. Instead, lift your hands and say, I knew my God would do it. Because he will. He already has. And this is just the beginning. Your story is about to change. Your testimony is about to be written. What was impossible is about to become undeniable. And you will stand as a living, breathing example of what happens when faith meets divine timing. Hold on. Stay ready. It is happening now.